sorry about that. It's the beauty of technology. My iPad died, and I thought I had enough juice on it. So I'm sorry, and I will finish this chapter. That's just about another 5 pages long. So I'm just going to kind of start from just the top of that page. So Taro paused and snatched up a smallish rock from the ground. The heat gets so intense, the very stones of land melt and form puddles. As he was saying this, Taro's fist closed over the rock. Thick goo dripped between his fingers and splattered on the ground. The crowd gasped. Kira grinned. While the exploding bonfire was bigger and showier, she had appreciated the melting rock trick more. First, you had to retrieve the packet of goo from your pocket and subtly cup it in your palm without anyone noticing. Then you had to send the rock sliding down your sleeve without making any unnatural movements. Finally, you had to time the dripping of the goo with the disappearance of the rock so they looked like one and the same. She had been practicing for 6 months and was just now getting to the point where she can pull off the trick. Well, kind of. With very small pebbles anyway. The flame races like a river cascading down the sides of the volcano and streaming along the fields. Taro resumed the narrative, using hand gestures and sweeps his cane to emphasize the power of the mighty volcano. There is no way to stop it. The entire village and everyone in it would simply be gone. Taro shook his head sadly. The only solution, my friends, is to stay far, far away from any volcano. Do not build anything you care about anywhere near its cursed base. And if you value life, don't even go hiking near one of those blights on our land. A volcano is a dark place, my friends, a place where the gods have failed. Even though Taro altered the details of the Fire Demon saga each year, the conclusion was the same. A collective shiver went through the crowd at his final words, and all were silent as they watched her father, his head bowed reverently. Kira was confident that this had been another successful contest. The only thing left to do was to load up the cart with their winnings, sacks of grain, salted meats, and crop seeds, and start the trek homeward in the morning. Kira stretched her arms over her head and yawned. It would be good to get a few hours sleep before their journey. But what of the takers? Someone yelled, shattering the silence. No one will tell a story about them. Kira's head snapped back to the festival. No one ever interrupted the finale of a storytelling contest. She watched as a man jumped up from where he was seated into the crowd and marched right up into the storyteller's circle. The style and color of his robes marked him as another outsider, a visitor from a neighboring village perhaps. Taro backed away from the intruder, his eyes searching for Kira in the crowd. The newcomer pointed to Taro as he stared out from the assembled villagers. You will sit here and listen to the fairy tales instead of a true warning. He shook his head. I don't have any fancy tricks. I can't make the fire dance up into the night sky or turn rocks into liquid. All I can do is relate to what I've seen with my own eyes. Taro was still scanning the crowd, and Kira waved to him. Spotting her, he exited the circle and made his way through the crowd as quickly as he could, elbowing people roughly out of the way. Kira had never seen her father do anything like that. The takers. They came last year to the fishing village where I grew up, the strange man continued. Arrived on great ships. We had never seen anything like them. The village elder, who had lit the bonfire to start the festivities, entered the circle, flanked by 2 strong men. The contest is over, my friend, he said, motioning to the newcomer to follow him out of the circle. But the new storyteller ignored him, facing the crowd and raising his voice. These takers, they are monstrous. In the space of a few months, they had overrun my beloved village, enslaved my people. His voice shook with emotion. They took everything. I barely escaped. Kira scrunched up her eyebrows in confusion. What kind of story was this? She scanned the faces of the crowd and could tell the visitors were thinking the same thing. Instead of the rapt expressions she had seen before and during Taro's tales, she saw people glancing around at one another, looking a little nervous or uncomfortable. A few young children started crying. The village elder and his two strong friends closed in on the man, but he backed away, his voice frantic now. "You must listen," the man cried. "Please. I did not come here to entertain. I came to issue a warning. You must listen, and you must act, all of you." Kira jumped in surprise when Taro grabbed her by the arm, so wrapped up in the ranting of this strange man that she had lost track of her father in the crowd. "Gather your things," Taro said through clenched teeth. "We're leaving." "Now?" Kira said. "What about the prize?" "You know we don't need it. Now let's go." "But we've never left this early." "Now, Kira." Taro spoke in his stern as volcano man voice. There was no arguing with that. He had started pulling the cart before Kira even jumped down from her perch. The man in the circle rushed to finish his tale before he was caught up and forcibly removed. "I escaped to a village near here, on the south side of the volcano, Nafalu. You must have heard of it. Near the waterfall. Yes? The cliffs? A beautiful place." His voice rose to a shout. "And I am here to tell you that a group of takers was spotted in the area just last month. They are spreading. Please hear me, good people. The takers have come." "Don't listen to him." Taro's voice was a sheet of ice. The cart was nearly to the village gates, but Kira craned her neck to look over her shoulder. The man was shouting as he was being dragged away. "You must not let the takers anywhere near here. You must be vigilant and protect yourselves, or your village will be the next to be taken." And that is the end of chapter 2, remember, of If We Were Giants. And I will be back on Wednesday to read at least a chapter or two, like I just did today. And I hope everyone's doing great, and I'm doing fine, and I'm healthy, and just getting used to being at home so much. So I'll see you later. Bye.